Hey guys, it's me. I hope you guys are having a great day. And sorry, that's my paper towel holder squeaking. So we, I don't know. Sometimes you have that best friend who just says the right thing or knocks you over the head with a frying pan or something. Who knocks sense into you, right? That you've been best friends forever. And, she can say anything to you, right? Or he, and you don't get offended, you don't get upset. If you hear a noise, I'm making some decaf coffee. Uh, yeah, I'm making a late dinner again. I ended up falling asleep after everybody left to go to work and taking a long nap. I don't know, it was like an hour nap, but I caught it long because it felt amazing. But yeah, so, sorry. Anyways, so, as you guys know, I wake up at like 3 in the morning. And as you guys know, I have become obsessed. And I also have OCD, as I've explained. I do get it for certain things in my life. Typically, I do not have it, but obviously I have a tendency to have it. For projects and schoolwork, especially art projects, or things that I want to get done, like I said. So, one of the things that, I've explained, and I'm sure watching my videos, and you've stuck with me, which I appreciate, was that I'm very obsessed with, not with the girl from the scammer, but the scammer / the pictures that they use. And that has become my obsession. Like, and don't ask me why. I don't really know why. Because obviously I know somewhere it's probably a real person. Like I've said, I don't know why I've gotten obsessed with, like, finding the real person. Like, not the real person, but, like, the person that's the scammer, right? Probably because my husband, every time he's like, I wasn't sure you were telling the truth. I wasn't sure it was really a scammer. So then I became obsessed with that to prove that yes, it's a scammer, even though obviously I have seen it. I hope he's not that dense that he didn't figure that out. I think he knew. I think he knew. I think he didn't want it to be true. There's a difference. So I'm talking to my girlfriend, my best friend, last night. However you guys say it now. My best friend. Okay. And I'm sending her pictures that I found online of the same person. Again, I have found pictures different places, which, yeah, again, the person has different names, different places, looks, the same. And she's always, obviously, again, she's some kind of porn star or she's taken somewhere, there's lingerie and stuff, one of those sites. So that's what I'm doing at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And driving myself crazy. So I'm using Google, and again, I'm looking up scammers. I'm looking up this person's name. It must not be like a big time scammer, or this person isn't known yet, I would say, or they just change, a lot of times they change the name. So they'll use this name until people start picking up on it. And then they'll change the name. So I'm Googling things because I'm one who I love to figure out things like, I have friends who, all the scary murderers out there, like the big ones, like Jeffrey Dahmer and different people, that it's not that they like what they did, but they want to figure out their mind, like why, how they became that way, like different things like that. So my brain's kind of the same way, just not for that. For other things, I guess. And so I become obsessed over it. I do have a tendency to become obsessed with movies that I love, or characters, I guess, that I have felt I don't want to say a connection to, because that sounds creepy. But characters that I can relate to in some ways. Which I've talked about movies before and how I have become, like in one of my videos, and how I do become obsessive with movies that I absolutely love. For a while, I was obsessed with Twilight, especially the first one. And it's all those kinds of like movies that I can become obsessive with, I guess. I don't think I ever became obsessed with like actual TV show, but it's like movies. So, and then once I get bored, I get bored. It's sort of like in the day when we used to have CDs, you know, you would put that CD in and you were obsessed with that one or two or three songs on the CD. You bought it just for those songs and you played it so much and finally you got tired and moved on. You know, I think it's sort of like that. So, I'm finding all these pictures, and I'm Googling, and, you know, there's, you know, articles on Google that explain, like, how to know if you're being scammed, and obviously, it's, you know, especially a romance scam or a love scam, you know, they're saying, like, they haven't even met you, nothing, and they're saying, I love you, and wanting you to send money. We all know this, right? I don't have to keep explaining that to you. But, one place I never found this picture, or any of these pictures, was on Google. Google image. And I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Like, you know. And it said, actually, if it's not on there, that, you know, it's pretty likely that it's a scam, that they've stolen someone's personal pictures or, you know, gone basically not on the deep black web, but sort of like that. And so if you want to here's some websites that you can go to that are better than Google. Who would have thought there was something better than Google, right? And one of the places I've already been on, and there was tons of pictures of this person. And one thing I found funny is they do use not the same first name, but they use the same last name for like one of the sites. But anyways, there's tons of pictures, different sites. And this is a place that they said if it's on here and you see that it's on a lot of different sites, that means, you know, first of all, it's definitely a scam that people have stolen this person's pictures and using it on different sites and different, you know, places. Now, obviously, I would say some of them was real because there was like an escort, there was, you know, porn sites, and definitely her with outfits on that I would, you know, and that's all I've seen her in, and she's definitely, yeah. But some of the pictures, like, yeah, she was really young. But then there was quite a few where she looked like she could have been. And there's nothing wrong with this age, obviously, before I say this, guys. Because I'm not too far from it. To look at her, she almost looked 50, 60 years old in some of these pictures. So I don't know if people are taking her pictures and making her look younger, like, you know, fixing, because definitely some that my husband had sent to him, you could tell AI was involved. So, yeah, I found that really interesting. So I was sending them to my best friend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this, I found this here, I found that there. Like, you know, and I'm telling her basically what I am reading online, you know, and I guess my coffee is done. And I'm explaining to her, like, okay, so they said if it's really a scam, you go here and you do this. And so I'm telling her, and she's like, girl, she's like, let me ask you a question because you're going insane. And I'm like, she's like, is it worth looking this person up, driving yourself crazy. Like you're going seriously crazy. Being OCD with this. And is it worth your sanity to do this to yourself? And she's like, 'cause I don't think it is. Because really, the problem isn't with the scammer. The problem is with your husband. The scammer, yes. I mean, you know, like I kind of explained before, the scammer has a job. Whether it's a good one or not. But they didn't force your husband to talk to them. They didn't put a gun to his head and say, you have to talk to us. You know. They were doing what they're paid and what they do. And you were driving yourself crazy. Basically, it was your husband's job not to run and to be there for you. Because we've had, in the last 2004, 2005, my family has had a lot of, and I know everybody has problems. We had someone take their life in my family. And let's just say the person was very young. Then, well, first it was my uncle who got sick and passed away. He was not sick, not that we knew of, not that he knew of. And all of a sudden, it was a fast sickness and a fast death. So nobody got to, not that you can compare, like, sorry. It's not that you can prepare for it, per se. I mean, even when you think you're prepared, obviously you're not when a loved one passes. But it was so fast, and that was my mom's brother, her baby brother. So that was really hard on our family. And then somebody in my family took their life who was very young and loved and beautiful and just, so this all happened in like months apart. I mean, like maybe 3 or 4 months apart. Then my mom had her stroke. And again, my husband runs. Anytime he thinks that he can't handle things, he runs to online. So, of course, my best friend is like, you're beautiful. You have put up with so much from the same person that they are always hurting you. They're always making you feel bad about yourself. They weren't there for you, meaning my husband. They weren't supportive. They ran away every time and left you to fend for yourself mentally instead of dealing, with getting help or whatever, right? So this is not something I need to explain to you guys because you guys probably have picked this all up by now. So she's like, but like you deserve to be loved. You deserve, not this. And so she's like, but you're sitting here driving yourself crazy when nobody forced him to talk to this person. She's like, is it the person in the pictures? I don't know. I can tell you that. She's like, but still, you deserve so much better, and you deserve peace. You've just been through hell. And, something in me clicked. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't mean about, like, everything she said, but, like, me sitting there driving myself crazy looking at for this person that I even explain as a ghost or doesn't exist, in the form of it's not the real person you were talking to. Like, I don't know why I was doing it to myself, right? And I know you guys probably sat there saying the same thing watching these videos. But something with her clicked, you know? Probably because she's my best friend and she knows me. And so I sat there and I deleted all the pictures and Google searches for myself, for my sanity. And now, I guess really I just have to figure out what I want to do, right? Because it's not fair to me at all. But it's not fair, you know. Now, I will say that my husband today paid more attention to me. Today was laundry day for him, but he paid attention to me more today. So he is listening. He is listening. He is trying to be more assertive, I guess. So I put this hamburger in the fridge. As you guys see, I had used half of it. I put the other half in the freezer. I meant, not fridge. I put it in the fridge yesterday. And hopefully it should be good still. Right? It smells fine. Because, again, it was in the freezer. So I'm making a late dinner because, yeah, like I said, I fell asleep. So I did delete all the pictures. So, that part, at least I'm going to try to move on from. And again, I'm sure you guys are tired of my shit too and listening to it. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and listening to my crazy, and reaching out and making comments. And it's going to be little by little, but I'm starting at the beginning of where I need to start. And that's good. And then we will go from there. I think, right now I'm very cautious about my husband, as you guys can imagine. And you guys know, we've all been there. It's hard to change. So, like yesterday, when he had his phone the whole time, I kind of felt like we were going backwards. Like he was going backwards already. Which, my husband, he can change. He'll change for like a week usually. I don't know how, and that's why when he was doing so well, it was amazing, And as we know, it's easy to go back to our old ways also. And just because it's comfortable, it's where we've been. And that's why I've explained to my husband, like, this is not something that, it's going to be easy. And it's something that you have to really work and remind yourself of what needs to be done. So I love this cup. It has a chip in it. It has leopard print inside of it. It's pink. It's one of my biggest coffee cups, so I can have more. My heat just came on. Anyway, so Um, but yeah, so, um, you know, it's gonna take some time and the trusting, or, for me to trust anyone. I'm not one who trusts people. I do not trust anybody. I can't even sit here and tell you I probably trusted my own mom, um, all the way. Okay? And it's not because she's ever done anything to me, but I've always had a wall up. So for my husband, who I obviously, did seem to trust, it's going to take a while. Um, I know we've all been hurt in life. All of us. I don't care who you are. And we might see the hurt as differently from each person. You might, think something hurt you, and the rest of us would be like, you know. But our pain is our pain. Our hurt is our hurt, right? And it makes us who we are. And so, we have to own it, right? But at the same time, we can try to protect ourselves from some of it, right? I don't know. Anyway, so because I don't really talk on the phone anymore. And so, it'd be nice to find myself again, or find a new self, or, whatever I need to find, right? So, I will tell you, I've been to 3 different bars this week. And it's only Sunday, guys. What I mean by that is each of my friends, we went to bars to eat. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not saying I don't have a drink once in a while, but I'm not a big drinker at all. So, then we ordered from a bar today, and had it delivered, one that I've never been to, but apparently my husband, when he was younger, used to go there and eat and probably drink, I'm sure, because he used to drink a lot, I think, back when he was younger. So yeah, I did talk to my mom today, if you guys are interested. Finally, I haven't talked to her for like 2 days. And I don't know if she knew I was her daughter today. I don't think she did. Except they said she was sitting on a table sleeping. And she told me she went out. Where did she say she went? I think to a tree. So, I think she was asleep. Did she know I was her daughter? I don't know. I don't think so, because she always calls me her friend. Even if she puts the words together that I'm her daughter, it doesn't go here to know that, because she'll be like, oh, you're my daughter, but she'll point at like whoever's sitting with us. So if her roommate's there, she'll ask if we are sisters, she and I. So but I am someone right now that she seems to trust and believe. So I'm very curious, and I haven't heard this yet. I remember when my grandma was still home with us, and we would send her in the bathroom to do her teeth and face, wash them, and give her a little privacy, and she would be in there talking to herself in the mirror. And I didn't realize then, because I didn't know much about dementia, but apparently that is something normal that does happen sometimes, where they don't realize that's them in the mirror and they think it's an actual person. And My grandma was so funny because, again, I didn't know that was normal. I guess I should have done more research on that when I was younger, huh? But my oldest was like 2 years old, and um, no, I'm lying. He would have been three or four, and that's around the time that we found out he actually had autism, and he had definitely ADHD, and we were always outside, and I never thought about dementia or Alzheimer's or any of that. So, yeah, I definitely should have looked it up more. And I remember my grandma cried a lot. She did a silent cry, alone in her room type thing. And we would walk in and she'd be sniffling. Like she wasn't like a loud screaming cry like my mom does. And she lets everybody know she's crying, my mom. My grandma, you didn't know unless you walked in, and then she would, do that. And then you would ask her what's wrong. And she didn't know usually, or something about maybe her parents once in a while. But she, yeah, it was, really, with my grandma, it was kind of sad because I didn't know much about dementia. I wish I would have known more, but, and, we knew she had some issues, obviously. There were times that, because taking care of a 3-year-old or 4-year-old who had ADHD and would break out of your house all the time, trying to take care of my grandma was really difficult. Because sometimes I would have to leave her to go outside, obviously. So it got really difficult to take care of her. And we would tell her, my mom, hey, she needs to be in a nursing home. And Mom didn't really want to do that. Who wants to put their loved ones in a nursing home? There might be some people who want to make their lives easier. But I think my mom felt bad if she put her in a nursing home. And believe me, I understand that. You always think, again, you always kind of think, my parents didn't get rid of me when I was sick or when I had a flu, or you see these poor parents, and I feel bad, who their kids have, disorders or diseases. I don't want to say diseases, sicknesses, who are life-threatening, and they give up their whole life to fight for them. And then there's your loved ones, and you have so much on your plate and so much going on, and you can't take care of them. So yeah, it's very difficult to put your loved one in a nursing home. And my mom put herself in one. That was before, like, anything. She told the hospital she didn't want to be with me. She wanted, to go somewhere else. And I guess she, having dementia, she didn't understand that was going to be a nursing home. And so that's how we got where we were. And of course, once you put them in a nursing home, they usually do get worse. So, and then with my grandma, again, she held on to her as long as she could. Even when my father-in-law and I both told her she needed to be in a nursing home. My mom told my mom that my grandma needed to be. And she wouldn't do it. But again, when they went out of town, my grandma fell and broke her hip, and that's how she ended up in a nursing home. So, which thankfully then she had my aunt and my uncle to go see her almost daily. So I was very thankful for them. So yeah, So that is why I guess I feel like, what is it? Like, how leaves fall off a tree, and I feel like one fell off my tree, but in a good way today. Um, just kind of letting me feel a little better about letting go and taking one thing at a time, but letting go of that one part right now. And who knows? Maybe, hopefully, there will be more. Soon I figure out for myself. But yeah, thanks for listening. I'm sorry if so many of my videos are depressing to you. Um, I am just kind of expressing how I feel and what I feel, and I appreciate, and maybe one day this will help somebody. Who knows? Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.